Here's a question that can be asked when we put two old stories together. First is that story about the seeker after truth, who went from place to place trying to find someone who could teach him truth. And finally, he arrived at the place where he found an old sage who said to him, the only way you can find truth is you seek out and find the happiest man in the world. And when you find him, you must ask him, can you wear his garments? So the seeker after truth set out, and he went from country to country. He asked the question, do you know if the happiest man in the world lives here? And they would point him to someone. But inevitably, the seeker found that there was always something. Even while he was directly there, the person would lose their wife or some calamity would happen, and then all of a sudden their happiness was no more, illusory. And after many, many adventures, he finally came to a place where, as usual, he asked the populace, can you tell me where I can find the happiest man in the world? And they pointed to the forest. And when the seeker after truth came to the edge of the forest, he thought he could hear the faint echo of laughter coming from deep within. So he went into the forest, made his way deep, deep into the dark recesses of a dense forest, until he came to a clearing where, sitting under a tree, cross-legged, his long white hair, his long white beard reaching down to the ground, there was an old man. And the seeker after truth, after giving the customary greetings, asked him, are you the happiest man in the world? And the old man looked up at him and nodded. And so the seeker after truth said, well, I have been asked, when I find the happiest man in the world, that I have to ask, can I wear his garments? And with that, the old man looked up at the seeker and began to laugh. And he said, haven't you noticed I'm not wearing any garments? And then his laughter began to ring out. And the young seeker after truth noticed that the animals of the forest were laughing, and the grass was beginning to wave in laughter, and the branches on the trees were laughing, and the hills surrounding the forest were rumbling with laughter. But then the young seeker after truth, looking closely at the old man, recognized that it was the same old sage that had given him the advice to set out to find the happiest man in the world. And the seeker after truth said, but it's you. Why didn't you tell me in the beginning? The old man, letting his laughter rumble down to quietness, said, well, let's just say that if I had not sent you on this quest and have these adventures, you would not be able to be in a position where you were able to learn truth. And then there's that other old story about the woodchopper. And every day he would go into the forest and gather wood that he'd sell in the marketplace. But times were very lean, and he found that he had to go deeper and deeper into the forest to gather enough wood to even be able to get a few coins to put bread on his table. But one day, when he'd gone deeper into the forest, he came to a clearing, and there, in that clearing, sitting under a tree, was an old hermit, an old man, and the woodchopper greeted him, and they got into conversation, and after their conversation had ceased, the old hermit said to the woodchopper, go further, go further. So the next day, when the woodchopper came to the forest, he very bravely, even though he could hear the sound of wild animals, he went deeper into the forest, and there, to his great surprise, he found what he discovered to be tin. And so he thought to himself, I can mine this tin and make a better living. And this is what he did. He was able to earn much more mining the tin than he was chopping wood. But then he thought he should go to thank the old sage for his advice. And when he did, the old sage said to him, go further, go deeper. And so the woodchopper did. And when he did, going deep into the forest, he found rocks that he discovered held silver. He was able to mine the silver and become quite rich. And then again he went to the old sage to thank him for his advice, his encouragement. But all the old man said was, go further, go deeper. And so now, with courage, the woodchopper went deeper into the forest. And there he came across the glint of gold. And indeed, he was able to mine this gold and become a rich man. Then he went to the forest again to thank the old man again. He said, go further, go deeper. But this time, when the woodchopper went deeper into the forest, he came to a raging river. But on the other side of the river he could see an opening like a cave in the rocks. So taking his courage, he crossed the raging river and entered the cave. And there, in its walls, was the glitter of diamonds. He became very, very rich men. But then there was something nagging at him, a thought, and he had not gone back to the forest to thank the old man again. So he did. He went back and giving the greetings as usual and thanking the old sage. He couldn't help himself. He blurted out the question that had been bothering him. So he asked the old man, "You've given me advice to go further, go deeper, and I've become an inordinately rich man. But look at you. Tell me, why have you not ever risen up and sought that wealth for yourself?" And like the previous story, this old man began to laugh. And when he laughed, the trees laughed, the grass laughed, the little rabbits, the little animals, the moles, the beetles, the ants, the trees, the wind, the mountains laughed with him. The question that arises out of these stories is, what have you discovered? What is this that has been called true, that we can only find when all of those things that have the appearance of truth are found to be the mirages, the illusions, the play? What have we discovered that we can call truth? What is our experience now? Truth. What have you discovered about sitting by a river, sitting on your balcony or your veranda, listening? Do you still have the experience of finding yourself being lost in your sensory experiences? Or are you finding that all the sensory experiences are drawn into this place? It has the face of truth.
When you ask those questions, my mind just goes into stillness. Who are you? What do you do? What is true? There's an instant stillness, and I guess the truth is that's who we really are. And that's where everything becomes truth, because nothing comes into that place that isn't truth. It can't.
When we're not wearing any garments, figuratively speaking, and before we were an entity that was moving into life, moving into experiences, and now garmentless and naked and still, we're finding it's reversed. The sound, the senses, the sights, the feelings. Isn't it so? Is this truth? Can you call it truth? Or would you give it another name? Or maybe for the moment we can call it truth and explore it some more.